With my theater background, teaching actors, as well as directing and being an actor myself, I learned very early on that dynamic and experiential learning is truly the most profound. Research shows that actually retention of what you learned experientially is 90% effective. Other kinds of learning, other kinds of cognitive learning, is actually 5%, maybe 10% effective. So being lectured at, being talked at, not a lot of retention. But experiential learning, lots of retention. Because it's not only the brain that's remembering, it's the body that's remembering as well. So basically, I approach any topic. I could do a workshop really on any topic, even topics I don't know or understand. Because if I can get to the place of, well, what's the metaphor here? What's the metaphor? How can we embody the learning about whatever the subject matter is? Then the participants literally participate in the learning process. So when you give a workshop, the three things you always look at is, and whether this is in an organization or just for self-awareness and personal growth, you look at, well, what's my intention? What is it I think I want to learn? Second, what are the modalities that I might use to help the metaphor and the learning come alive for the learner? And the third is, well, what are the outcomes? What do I want them to take away with them? So I'm going to give you an example. So I did a workshop one time for the Mediators Association. And so imagine you're a mediator, that's being in the middle, right? And I would have the mediator stand in the center. And let's say on one side of them is the husband that's getting a divorce and wants child custody. And on the other side is the mother, and she wants custody. And behind them is the judge, okay? And they're all talking at the mediator, yelling at them all the things that they want. And what we look at in the mediator is, well, what does that feel like to be in the middle like that? What does it feel like to be torn? And how can I ground myself and take care of myself in such a way that whatever you're coming at me with, I can stay neutral, I can stay clear, I can stay in myself. And another example that I took that further is I created a workshop called The War Within. And we looked at these parts inside of ourselves that are in conflict, that are not on the same page. In fact, Freud said the thing that enervates us the most is not the wars outside of ourselves, but the war within ourselves. So an example of an experiential learning like that would be that I would have different people play different aspects of self, each wanting something, and at each other, with that person again in the middle, feeling that anxiety of being torn in different directions. And then you would take that conflict which has been identified, and you'd see, well, what happens to me? What are my visceral reactions as this conflict is appearing with me? Maybe I sabotage things. Maybe I procrastinate, And then we work on, well, if we slowed it all down and we gave each of these aspects of self a different voice and we let them be heard, how could we, again, become the mediator of ourself, the leader of ourself, and become a broker or a peacemaker or a negotiator with our very own inner conflict. So I really invite you to call me and let me come into your organization and let's collaborate on something together.